2017, the Poll Board of 4chan devised a plan. People from the site would put up posters and stickers with the slogan, "It's okay to be white," around campuses and in some instances, even city streets, in the US, Canada, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. Their motivation was made clear in the threads on Poll. The point of the "It's okay to be white" campaign was not to directly normalize whiteness, as the frothing progressives in the media would later accuse it of, but instead it was to popularize a benign, factually accurate statement that social justice warriors would nonetheless attempt to read between the lines of using their ideological lens, object to based on their findings from that reading, and then lose all credibility by publicly melting down. And it worked.
Last week, students and faculty at the University of Manitoba were met with posters and faxes that had only 5 words. It's okay to be white. Those posters were quickly removed by university staff, but not before the impact of those 5 words rippled across the campus and the country.
By posting these posters in areas where Indigenous students are more likely to spend more time, for instance, where people with different sexual orientations are meant to spend more of their time, that's a silencing message.
Signs from an unknown source with an unclear message posted around a North Fort Worth neighborhood have people scratching their heads.
At the very least, this thing, Ken, I saw the signs. It's concerning, at the least.
Concern and confusion at UC Davis over racially charged flyers posted on campus.
It causes a lot of tension and a lot of, defensiveness.
The chancellor used his college paper to call those words divisive. The "It's okay to be white" flyers could be found all over the UC Davis campus, on sandwich boards, underneath bridges, and on garbage cans. Senior Aless Lee says the signs went up on cultural safe zones, too.
There was also one next to the Chicano Latino Resource Center as well. So they've been posted everywhere.
The "It's okay to be white" message met with uncertainty.
Are you insinuating that people of color are saying that it's bad to be white?
Lee is on the UC Davis Black Leadership Council, which called a town hall meeting Friday to discuss the posters and racial tension on campus.
Whoever's posting these photos, I don't think they're realizing how triggering these posters are for people.
It's really scary to me that there are people that would put up posters, go to the lengths to put up posters like this.
I was really shocked that someone had the guts to do this, because it's we try to promote diversity so much.
But whenever a SJW says something along the lines of "men are this" or "white people are that," the natural reaction from a person within one of those groups is to say, "Hey, I'm not like that." After all, nobody likes to be blamed for a crime they didn't commit. Hell, most people object to being told that they are something that they're not, even if that thing is relatively benign. We've all got some need to be seen at least partially accurately in the eyes of our peers. And when a social justice warrior receives one of these natural, reasonable objections, they reply with, "Don't go #NotAllMen on me," or "not all whites," or whatever. You see, if you're one of the white people that doesn't do what these SJWs say all white people do, then the message simply wasn't tailored to you. And your speaking out in defense of yourself is considered to be a further attack on people of color, because rather than quietly accepting that you are not one of the bad whites caught by this all white people net, instead you're recentering the conversation on whiteness with your problematic complaint. At least that's how the social justice logic goes. It's retarded, I know. But it's also common enough to be the centerpiece of mainstream media articles on the topic. CNN's "What's Wrong with Too Many White Men in One Place" stated that Trump's May 2017 photo op with dozens of other politicians was problematic because nearly everybody in the frame was a white male. The actual event, repealing and replacing Obamacare, the political meat of the story, only got a short sentence right at the start of the article. The rest of it was about the whiteness of the crowd. It's not just in the States, though. In Australia, a motion to condemn anti-white racism using the aforementioned 4chan phrase was narrowly voted down, with politicians later stating that it was an administrative error that it even got votes at all. I guess it's actually not okay to be white, to the point that those who voted for the measure have to blame their horrible ignorance about just how bad it really is to be white on some kind of excuse. In the UK, the Labour Party faced a severe backlash for telling straight white men they could not attend an equality conference. That doesn't seem very equal, does it? Meanwhile, the BBC decided to offer intern positions only to non-white applicants. And one of Jeremy Corbyn's advisors is a transgender person of color who publicly said all white people are racist. But I'm sure she didn't actually mean all white people. Don't object and recenter the conversation, you bigot. Instead, do what this helpful white male ally does, and show your support on on social media. Please take away white people's right to vote. Don't ask why, everyone knows. If you don't know, figure it out with your big white brain. Imagine saying this about any other race. Imagine saying, please take away black people's right to vote. Yeah, we went down that road once before, and it was fucking horrific. Let's not repeat that. Speaking of social media, here's Diane Abbott, the UK's first black female MP. White people love playing divide and rule. We should not play that game. That's a pretty hot take. But let's ramp it up to 11. I will say it again. Y'all only care about the Holocaust because the victims were white. One day I will have to make a video about just how much black progressives hate the Jews, but it'll have to wait. The account this came from, this person, Fo, she's 20, she's 5'7", I don't know why her height is relevant, I guess she's part of the internet thought hookup culture. She certainly looks the part. Somali, Muslim, Instagram. Okay, where is your hijab, Miss Fo? Why don't you follow any of the tenets of your professed faith, Miss Fo? Maybe you've taken on the Muslim identity without actually doing anything that makes one a Muslim for those oppression points, Miss Fo. It is hard to be a public anti-Semite without having at least a few oppression points to offer up in trade, after all. Fun and games aside, this idea that all white people are to be blamed for the world's ills, and if you complain because you haven't done anything personally, you're just a part of the problem, it's filtering down into the rest of society with disastrous consequences. Check this out. Utah man attacks father and son at auto shop, shouting, "I'm here to kill a Mexican." The Hill didn't reveal anything about the attacker, so the Twitter sphere wound itself up into a frothing white hatred. Only it turned out that the attacker was a black man, and The Hill didn't want to upset the narrative. Or how about this? Black girl bullied for friendship with white girl kills herself. This should not be fucking happening. It doesn't matter who you're friends with in school. Segregation ended, and now these legitimately fucking racist SJWs want to bring it back. She was being bullied the entire school year, with words such as, kill yourself, you think you're white because you ride with that white boy, you ugly, black bitch, just die. This is what white bullies would say to white kids who were friends with black kids back in the day. This is the exact same fucking thing. The phrase, it's okay to be white, contains nothing about whether or not it's okay to be a race other than white. Taken at face value, it's simply a statement of positivity. It exists as a litmus test for progressives, wherein if somebody is offended by this poster, you can be certain that they ultimately think it's not okay to be white. They're likely the type of person who would make grand sweeping statements about the entire race, and then be even further offended when somebody comes out with not all whites. That's why when somebody high profile like Notch comes out and says the phrase, it's just delicious. Notch probably doesn't actually think the way that SJWs think he thinks when they read between the lines of this tweet. Notch probably doesn't even care too much about the inherent positivity and self-affirmation within this phrase either. Notch is likely just out to troll, and at this point, this phrase will troll everyone. And just like last time, the media fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Minecraft creator goes full white man denying white privilege on Twitter. Nothing in the phrase talks about denying white privilege, and it says some very dark things about you that you see this in here. Overwhelmingly, it's white SJWs talking about how bad it is to be white. Not always, of course, but it's a good chunk of them, all of them with the white savior complex. They've been told that what their ancestors did was bad, and that they are directly at fault, so this is their penance. They've got a bad case of white guilt, and it's problematic and oppressive if you don't join them in that white guilt. But the part that goes right over their head is that white guilt is just an apologetic form of white supremacy. White supremacists believe their race is superior. White guiltists believe the same thing, but they're sorry about it. That's why you get pictures like this. A black woman wearing an "It's okay to be white" shirt. Because it is okay to be white. Just like it's okay to be black, it's okay to be Hispanic, it's okay to be Asian. Truthfully, we shouldn't be attaching value judgments to the completely uncontrollable variable of what race you happen to be born as. But if we have to, a positive one for everyone is the way to go. Anything else, including the demonization of white people, is just a regression into the past. Every once in a while, you can see the progressive mask slip. It changes from, no, we're not talking about all white people, stop taking it so personally, to, yes, we mean all white people. In the University of Manitoba's student paper, the article, "It's not okay to be..." Oh, they deleted it already. Yeah, I guess the optics were just too awful, even for the progressive heartland of academia, eh? The article, "It's not okay to be white," is in direct opposition to the poster slogan, with the tagline, "Be a race traitor and abolish whiteness." Reject white identity and white interests and be a white race traitor. It is okay to have skin people might call white, but it is not okay to be white. Before I begin my argument, I need to make a few things clear. I have white privilege. It's always a white guiltist. A world built on freedom, on equality, on economic justice, on indigenous people's self-determination cannot exist alongside whiteness or capitalism or the liberal order. For the white worker to join every other worker on this planet, she must become a race traitor, embrace her class interest above all else, and then she will finally have her humanity restored. For someone who clings on to whiteness cannot truly be a part of humankind. Whiteness must be abolished. It must be betrayed. It must at long last die. And this is what is underneath all of that progressive doublespeak. It's not just an objection to reasonable targets like they will always claim, like Nazis or white supremacists. It's a hatred of capitalism. Not just exploitative capitalism, but the capitalism that has brought more value to more people at a faster rate than any other economic system in the history of humankind. It's a hatred of the liberal order and the personal freedom inherent in it. The white worker is a she because white men, even poor white men, have no place in the progressive utopia. Whiteness and humanity are set at odds with each other, not unlike the grotesquely racist debates over whether or not the newly contacted peoples of the Americas even had souls during the era of exploration. I don't care about Pohl's rightist objectives when it comes to putting out the "it's okay to be white" posters and flyers, but I do care about the effects it had on political discourse. The white guiltists of today are just as dangerous to liberty and democracy as the white supremacists of 50 years ago.
I have done my research. I've done my research. You're fucking old. Old. You're fucking a white male. Yes. In America. Yes. Look at all the fucking black people that are Mexicans. That's not a fucking issue compared to the black people that are police. Bullshit. The white guys are right. You're a white man. This is fucking bullshit.